Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into a topic that so many of us think we get, but whose true scale is often hiding in plain sight. We're talking about India's air pollution, and we're going to call it what it is: a relentless, nationwide, and silent public health emergency.
Right, let's get one thing straight from the very beginning. This is not just about Delhi's winter smog. That's the old, tired story. The reality, as this quote lays out so clearly, is that this has become a year-round, countrywide crisis.
So, to really understand this, we've got to look at the numbers, because they tell a story that is just impossible to ignore. This is the true scale of the emergency we're facing. So, what's this number, 150? Well, in 2023, officials monitored 256 Indian cities for air quality, and out of those, a staggering 150 of them failed to meet India's own national standard for PM 2.5 pollution. That's nearly 60% of the cities they tracked, all breathing air that the government itself says is unsafe. Okay, this is where it really hits you. On the far left, that little bar, that's the World Health Organization's guideline for what's considered safe air. Next to it, you've got India's national limit, which you'll notice is already 4 times higher. But then, look at the bar on the right. That's the seasonal reality in a city like Delhi. We're talking about 118 micrograms per cubic meter. It's almost double the national limit and nearly 8 times what the WHO says is safe. It just shows you the massive gap between the standards on paper and the air that millions of people are actually breathing every day. So that leads us to a really critical question. Even with these shocking numbers, are we actually seeing the whole picture? The answer, and this is the scary part, is no, not even close. And here's why. The problem is baked into the official air quality index itself. First off, it has a hard cap at 500. So even when the real pollution levels soar way past that, the official number just stops. And second, it lumps everything above that into a single category: severe. Think about that. Whether the actual number is 501 or 1000, it's reported the same way. It completely hides how truly terrible the worst days are, which means the public response is never proportional to the real danger. But look, this isn't just about data and flawed indexes. This is about people. This is about our families, our friends. So now we're going to talk about the devastating human cost and translate these abstract pollution levels into something much more real: lost lives and lost years. This number is probably the most gut-wrenching of all. According to the Air Quality Life Index, a person living in Delhi can expect to lose more than 8 years of their life just because of the air they breathe. That's compared to WHO standards. Just let that sink in. 8 years of your life just gone. And if we zoom out to the whole country, the numbers are just as staggering. In 2023 alone, air pollution was a contributing factor in nearly 2 million deaths across India. These aren't just statistics. These are real people dying prematurely from heart disease, from strokes, from diabetes, all made worse by the air around them. And here's the kicker. This is not a problem that's just staying the same. It's getting worse. The number of deaths linked to pollution has shot up by 43% since the year 2000. That just shows you the cumulative, devastating effect of long-term exposure. This crisis is getting deeper with every passing year. So what is actually happening inside our bodies when we breathe this stuff in? Let's take a look at the biology here, at how these tiny, toxic particles launch an attack on our most vital organs. The main villain in this story is something called PM 2.5. Now, don't think of this as just dust. These are microscopic particles, way smaller than a human hair. They're so tiny, they're like ghosts. They slip right past your body's natural defenses, go deep into your lungs, and can even get into your bloodstream. And from there, they travel everywhere, basically starting a low-grade fire of inflammation throughout your entire body. So let's start with your heart. That inflammation I just mentioned, it hardens your arteries and jacks up your blood pressure. This seriously increases your risk of heart attacks and strokes. And the link is terrifyingly direct. For every tiny 10-unit rise in PM 2.5, the annual death rate goes up by 8%. Polluted air is basically a silent, invisible accelerator for heart disease. And of course, the most obvious target is our lungs. Right now, an estimated 6% of all Indian children have asthma. But what's truly terrifying is what it does to their development. Kids who grow up breathing this air can lose 10 to 15% of their total lung capacity. That is a physical handicap they could carry with them for the rest of their lives. But the damage doesn't stop there, and this might be the most shocking part.
New science is showing a terrifying link between air pollution and our brains. Those little PM 2.5 particles can actually cross the blood-brain barrier, causing inflammation inside the brain itself. In kids, this is linked to slower cognitive development. And in adults, for every 10-unit increase in exposure, the risk of dementia goes up by a shocking 35 to 49%. It is literally making our brains age faster.
Okay, so we know the scale of the problem, and we know what it does to our bodies. But what's really causing all of this? It's time to look past the usual suspects, the seasonal scapegoats everyone loves to blame. Every year, the public conversation gets stuck on things like stubble burning and Diwali fireworks. And look, don't get me wrong, they absolutely make a bad situation much, much worse, but they are not the root of the problem. As you can see here, the real culprits are the things that happen all year round. The constant emissions from vehicles and factories, the dust from endless construction, the open burning of waste. These things create a dangerously high baseline of pollution that we live with every single day. The seasonal stuff just pushes an already critical situation over the edge. And let's be very clear, this is not a burden that's shared equally. This crisis perfectly mirrors existing social and economic divides. It's the lower income communities that are far more likely to be located right next to the highways, the factories, the landfills. Their kids are more exposed, they have less access to healthcare, and they end up bearing the heaviest burden of all. This is a profound issue of environmental justice. I know, after hearing all of that grim news, it's really easy to feel, well, pretty hopeless. But here's the good news. Solutions do exist. We're going to shift our focus now to a clear path forward, a multi-front strategy for change, a path to clean air. So what does that path look like? Well, there's no single magic bullet here. The only way forward is to attack this problem from all sides at once. It means completely transforming our transport systems, getting serious about controlling industrial pollution, properly regulating construction, totally overhauling waste management, and finally, making air quality a core part of our public health system. And those big strategies, they break down into real, concrete actions that we can take right now. We're talking about a massive switch to electric public transport. We're talking about actually enforcing pollution controls on industry. Simple but effective things, like making dust suppression mandatory at all construction sites, scientific waste management to stop open burning, and integrating air quality warnings directly into routine healthcare so doctors can advise their patients. These aren't just pipe dreams. They're practical, achievable steps. Ultimately, all of this comes down to one fundamental shift in our thinking. The science is overwhelming. The health impacts are undeniable. It is time to stop treating this as just an environmental issue or some kind of economic trade-off. It is time to recognize clean air for what it is, a fundamental human right. And that leaves us with one final, crucial question to think about. If we all agree that clean air is a non-negotiable right, as fundamental as clean water or safe food, then what does real, urgent, and uncompromised action truly look like? Thank you for watching.